The first time I'm doing it this season. We're halfway through the year, basically. So let's begin with number 10.
Number 10.
This one might shock a lot of people. I'm going the Denver Broncos. They've stepped it up big time in the past couple weeks. Right now, they're 5-3 in Bo Nix after having 2 very poor weeks who seem to hit a hot streak. The defense right now is 3rd in points allowed and 3rd in total defense. They also are 3rd. They have the 3rd best red zone defense as well. Levi Wallace and Pat Surtain are ranked as the 2nd best cornerback duo in the NFL. They are shutting down top receivers, especially Pat Surtain shutting down everybody. Bo Nix has come alive in October, ranking 1st in completion percentage, pass yards, touchdown interception ratio, 2nd in passer rating among rookies. He's really stepped it up big. Now, this will be a true test. He's been up on some decently bad teams. He's versing the Ravens in this week. How will he do? I expect somewhat of the same. Obviously, going against a top-tier team like the Ravens is going to be difficult, but I think with the defense that the Broncos have, they'll be able to slow down Lamar Jackson just a little bit to make it at least somewhat of a respectable game, being 9.5-point underdogs. Number 9. I got the Houston Texans. They just lost to the New York Jets 21-13. It was a bad loss, though. Offense wasn't clicking. Defense really couldn't stop Rodgers in the second half. Offense was anemic in the second half. The offensive line is in shambles right now, losing your backup left guard. Joe Mixon is still the best part of this offense with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs out currently. Nico Collins should be back, and that should help out C.J. Stroud in the long run, but they're one of the worst second-half offenses in the NFL. And I think that going into the second half of the season, playing teams like the Chiefs, it's going to be very difficult for the Houston Texans team to remain as dominant as they have been throughout the first half of the season. Now, they've had a couple bad losses, but they were able to really shut down the Buffalo Bills, making Josh Allen complete 30% of his passes. If the Texans continue that, I think they'll be a decent playoff contender, but at least for right now, coming off a bad loss, I got them at number 9.
Number 8.
I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow. This is interesting because Justin Fields made this offense not look great. They had 166 passing yards on average, while Russell Wilson has really attacked the passing game. 295.5 passing yards a game, so that's 295.5 to a little over 166 for Justin Fields. So the passing game for the Steelers has ramped up pretty nicely. The defense, though, 2nd in points allowed, 9th in total defense. They also have the 2nd best red zone defense. They're not allowing teams to score touchdowns, which obviously creates opportunities for Justin Fields to go 4-2, for Russell Wilson to keep the offense alive. And Najee Harris has also come alive the past 3 weeks with back-to-back 100 rushing yard games. I think I think that the defense, though, is obviously the answer. TJ Watt had a tiny bit of a cold streak, but ramped it up last week against the Giants. I think that the Steelers have shocked a lot of people in the first 8 weeks, but the last 9 weeks of play will really show how good the Steelers are going up against a lot of teams in the division, the Chiefs included, the Browns with Jameis Winston. We'll see what the Bengals look like. The Steelers have the most difficult second half schedule in the NFL, so we'll see what Russell Wilson or maybe Justin Fields could do. Let's go with number 7.
Number 7.
I got the Green Bay Packers here. They lead the league in explosive plays right now. Jordan Love is 3rd in passing touchdowns. The defense also has been taking the ball away like nobody else. They're 1st in takeaways. They also are 1st in opponent drives ending in a turnover. The Packers also have the 5th best rushing attack in the NFL. But here's my issue, though. They should be number 6 or even number 5 maybe to some people. But I think with Jordan Love's turnovers, he's got to tone it down. Completion percentage also not that high. So if he could tone down the turnovers, increase the completion percentage, and also he's banged up. He's a game-time decision so far. So we'll see if he comes out here against a serious division opponent in the Detroit Lions. But the Packers, they're 6-2, riding high. I think Matt LaFleur right now, he should be a top 4, maybe even top 3 head coach in the NFL right now. They did get a much-needed win, but it was close against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They won 30-27, but the Packers right now take the number 7 spot for me.
Number 6.
I got the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I think 3 weeks ago you asked me, I put them as the top 3 team in the NFL. They are sliding right now. 2 straight losses in this one. 30-20 loss against the Los Angeles Rams, but they did have Puka Nacua back. They did have Cooper Kupp back. I think the loss to the Rams definitely hurt them because guess what? They missed the refs missed a face mask in the end zone, which ultimately ended the game because that ended up being a safety, Rams ball. They used to be the best defense in the NFL. They're blitzing like nobody else. Brian Flores generating pressure, giving quarterbacks a difficult time in the pocket. But I think recently, if you get the ball out quick, make the right read early on, you could kind of expose this Minnesota Vikings defense. But when you have the best receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones having a great season so far, coming up big and coming up clutch, and TJ Hawkinson still trying to make his way back. Sam Darnold hasn't been great recently, but can he maintain a level of consistency that allows the Vikings to at least make some big-time plays and push them far? I think currently the answer is yes. We'll see how the season progresses, but right now the answer is yes. I got the Vikings in number 6.
Number 5.
I got the Washington Commanders. Third best offense in the NFL. Defense has stepped up big time as of late. They're 11th in points allowed, 13th in total defense. Jaden Daniels, I think right now is locked up, unless, he completely falls off the face of the earth and Caleb Williams picks it up here. But I think that Jaden Daniels, I know it's only halfway through the season, I think he's locked up Rookie of the Year, at least in my mind. I think the biggest shock for the Washington Commanders coming out last season, seeing how Austin Eckler was leading one of the worst rushing attacks for the Chargers, stepping up this time, contributing along with Brian Robinson, contributing to the third best rushing offense in the NFL. I think that's what's shocking. Last week, the Commanders had their best pressure rate all year. 60% pressure rate on the Chicago Bears, whose offensive line has picked it up a little bit. The Commanders did a great job stopping Caleb Williams. They won 18-15 with the Hail Mary. This is one of the most fun teams to watch in my mind. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders take my number 5 spot.
Number 4.
Number 4 is the Baltimore Ravens. They suffered a bad loss last week, going up against Jameis Winston, and somehow you pull out a bad loss. But Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are still having tremendous seasons so far. Derrick Henry is actually projected to be the first player in NFL history to have 2,000-yard rushing seasons, which is utterly ridiculous. But the major shock from last year to this year, the defense is abysmal. 26th in points allowed, 25th in total defense, dead last in passing defense. The Ravens really can't stop anybody. It's only when Lamar Jackson in this offense could just outscore you that really, if you make one mistake, you're going to be screwed. If you throw an interception early, Lamar Jackson in this offense is going to run right down and at least put up some form of points. Right now, Lamar is number 2 in MVP voting. I think he has a serious shot at getting his 3rd MVP, or at least leading in MVP voting by the time the season ends. Lamar's having a great year. Derrick Henry having a phenomenal year. But right now, this defense is costing them a top 3 spot in my mind. A bad loss against Jameis Winston, who, let's be honest, doesn't garner a lot of respect because of his history with turnovers. Now, he had recent success with the Saints, 14-3 with Sean Payton. Coming over here now to the Cleveland Browns, had a phenomenal game. Defense gave the Browns their first 300-plus yard passer and first 400 total yard game this season. That's bad. You decrease now from the top 3 team to a number 4 team. Let's go on to number 3.
Number 3.
I got the Buffalo Bills. They've stepped it up now. 31-10 to the Seahawks after the Seahawks defense shut down really anything they could do the prior week. Josh Allen finally threw his first interception this season, but it didn't matter. The offense was just way too explosive. The Bills defense only allowed 32 rushing yards last week. Yes, the Seahawks do lead the league in passing yards, but what has it really amounted to? Not much in my mind. Their win against Seattle was their 4th win by 21 or more points this season, which is utterly ridiculous. And guess what? This is their 3rd straight victory since back-to-back losses. The Bills have hit a hot streak. Josh Allen currently leads in MVP voting. If James Cook and this offensive run game, if they have any ounce of success, that only benefits Josh Allen. It is Joe Brady's system, have an effective running game. If you don't have that, you're kind of screwed, and the Bills have been able to have that. The addition of Amari Cooper helps massively, adds another severe offensive threat to that Bills offense, and the defense has had its moments. They go up against the Miami Dolphins this week. And are the Dolphins a good team? No. Are the Bills a good team? Yes. What does Tua do against against good teams? Not much. I'm going to talk about that later on in the show. So the Bills should continue their success here. I got the Bills as the number 3 team so far through 8 weeks. My number 2 spot.
Number 2.
This might shock a lot of people. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're undefeated. I understand. They're 7-0. They have nice wins over Cincinnati, Baltimore, and San Francisco. San Francisco, Brock Purdy shot himself in the foot 3 times. Baltimore, they were a toe and a Lamar Jackson rainbow throw over Isaiah Likely away from losing that game. Cincinnati, if Joe Burrow doesn't fumble and really just a bad 4th and 13 pass interference call on the Bengals, those would have been 3 losses so far this season. Lamar's having the worst season of his career, though. 8 touchdowns, 9 picks, only 235.9 passing yards a game. He's not having a good year at all. The defense has been keeping the Chiefs in these games. Really, the defense has been the key for a lot of these games. Open up the season. Lamar Jackson having a difficult time in the pocket. They had Justice Hill blocking Chris Jones. What are you doing? Way too many mistakes offensively, though. Patrick Mahomes putting the ball in harm's way too many times, and you had a way too close victory against a divisional rival of the Las Vegas Raiders. That's a problem. You only won 27-20. I expect more from what people are calling now better than Brady, Patrick Mahomes. I expect better. They are 7-0. But I think if a team plays perfectly, which a couple of these teams can do, whether it be the AFC or the NFC, if you just tone down the bad mistakes and capitalize, I think the Chiefs will start losing games. But if they keep winning, who says? If they keep winning 2 more games, 17-0 is definitely on the board for me. But number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs, which leaves one team that I think a lot of people are not expecting to be here. It should be a top 3 team for me, the number 1, which is...
Number 1.
I got the Detroit Lions. Number 1 offense in the NFL, 33.4 points per game, 8th in points allowed for defense. They have the best rushing attack duo in the NFL. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs have been dominant throughout the entire season. And it doesn't matter. If Montgomery's having a bad game, well, there's Jahmyr Gibbs. If Jahmyr Gibbs not having an effective game, David Montgomery could break out for a couple runs. They're beating teams by an average margin of 17.3 points. They are blowing out teams. The defense, yes, can be shaky, but the offense has been so good that it doesn't really matter. The Titans gave them some worry. It didn't matter. Jared Goff threw under 50 yards, I think? Did not matter. They put up 52 points last week. It's ridiculous. Jared Goff, though, we have to talk way more about Jared Goff because what he's been doing since week 2 has been shocking. 83.5% completion percentage, which ranks first. 11.9 yards an attempt, first. Remember when everyone was harking on Brock Purdy's yards per attempt? Can we give Jared Goff some love at least? 11.9 yards an attempt. That ranks first, like I said. 9 touchdowns, 1 pick. That touchdowns is tied for 6th in that time frame, while only 1 interception is tied for the 3rd best in that time frame. He's also the 4th highest graded quarterback by Pro Football Focus. Jared Goff, he has a serious case for MVP, but I think just based on reputation, I don't think he'll get, for instance, I would give Dan Campbell right now Coach of the Year. The way that his star player on defense, the best defender in the NFL up to that point, goes down and is injured, and the defense could still be as dominant as it has been, I mean, come on, give Dan Campbell some credit here. I understand Dan Quinn's having a great year. Yeah, there are a couple of coaches out here that are shocking the world. Kevin O'Connell, I would agree. But if the Vikings start losing, here's the thing. If the Vikings start losing, I don't think Kevin O'Connell will be the favorite. I think when it comes down to it, if the Lions and the Commanders both have basically consistent seasons, as they have been right now, I would give it to Dan Campbell. I would. I understand. Shocking. Jaden Daniels giving the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'd give the Coach of the Year to Dan Campbell. He's done tremendous the past couple of years. He's built a culture there. The Lions believe in something, and they are a city of just failure, disappointment. Calvin Johnson, Matt Stafford doing nothing in the playoffs, not making NFC Championship game for 30 years, not winning their division for over 20 years. I mean, it's been bad so far, but this is a serious competitor in the NFL now. They are my Super Bowl team. Maybe I'm biased. This is my Super Bowl team. Detroit Lions, for me, are the number 1 team in the NFL through 8 weeks. As, of course, I bring you in. Hate, love, indifferent. How do you feel about my
I think you're right on. The only thing I would swap would be the Packers and the Vikings.
Which NFL.com actually has. They have Packers 6, Vikings 7.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, the Lions and Packers are playing this week, right?
Yes.
The Vikings have lost 2 in a row. If they lose 3 in a row, then maybe they're falling a little further down.
Potentially.
But, I would have had the swap the Steelers and the Texans, but the Texans losing last night to the Jets, to me, that drops them down to number 9. I agree with you.
What do you think of the Broncos 10? I'm sure people don't agree with that. The Eagles, and by the way, if anyone's wondering where the Eagles are, they're number 11.
Yeah, I think
I don't trust them, though. That's why they're not in the top 10.
I think the Eagles have played a lot better since the bye.
Yes, great win over Cincinnati last week.
And their defense has really stepped up. Fangio has really got them playing well now. Also, Jalen Hurts not making the mistakes anymore. He's had 2 very solid games without making bad mistakes. So that keeps going, then I think the Eagles will move up into the top 10.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.